Good morning, everyone. So we are here right now to have our debate, and our claim is Limasawa, and the other side is Butuan. So knowing the real place where the first Catholic Mass actually took place is really hard for us to find. Why? Because for how many years have been passed and the evidences might have vanished, but we believe that it was held in Limasawa. March 31, 1521, and it is Easter Sunday. So in order to know where the first Mass was actually held, we need to know first where did Ferdinand Magellan's expedition landed. And for our argument, which is the accordance of our primary sources, the account of Antonio Pigafetta and Francisco Albo, who are the witnesses of Magellan's voyage. They both stated that the first Mass took place on the island they called Masawa in Pigafetta's account and Mazava in Francisco Albo's account. They both asserted that from that island of Homonhon they went westward towards the island of Leyte and turned to a southeast direction. To reach this island, based on the geographical location by Albo and Pigafetta, the island of Limasawa and southern Leyte is the counterpart. Thus, our proposition strongly supports the motion of this House that the first Mass in the Philippines really held in Limasawa.
No, I disagree of what you've said just now. Because according to Antonio Pigafetta, our credible primary source, that Magellan only went to Limasawa because of Victoria's ship. He repaired the ship there because the ship was broken. And on March 31, 1521, it was Easter Sunday, he went to the island of Butuan, which is Raha Calambo is the king. And then when he went to the said island, he declared he have the declaration there that the first Catholic Mass was held there beside the sea. And it was witnessed by Raha Calambo and Raha Shago that the first Catholic Mass was held there, not in Limasawa.
I disagree with claims of the proposition scientific-wise. It should also be noticed that the cross is not found anywhere near Butuan, but on the separate island of Masao. Also, geographical evidence says are showing that the island where the Mass take place in Limasawa. From the logbook of Francisco Albo, didn't mention about the first Mass, but he mentioned about the planting of the cross from the top of a hill. He did not also mention Limasawa. He neither mentioned about Masao in Butuan. So what does it mean? On the same day of the Mass, a cross was erected on the summit of a mountain, and according to Francisco Albo, on the summit of the mountain you can see three islands from the west and southwest, wherein Butuan can be seen on northern direction. Therefore, based on the analysis of the latitude and the location of the description, Albo's account would fit to the location of Limasawa Island, and that was the southern tip of Leyte.
So I completely disagree with what Ms. Amante said, because the first Christian Mass was truly held in Masao, Butuan, not in Limasawa. That what was referred to us in the journals of Antonio Pigafetta as Masawa. So this information we get from our primary source, Antonio Pigafetta and Francisco Albo. Although in Albo's account, he did mention the first Mass, but we focus on Antonio's theory. He mentioned that the location of the first Mass was in Masao, Butuan on Easter Sunday, March 31, 1521. And Pigafetta also seen as a credible source, because his work was instantly became classic, and one was of the credible source because his work was instantly became classic and one of the most cited documents. So by historians who wish to study pre-colonial Philippines, by that there are many evidence we have why in Masao, Butuan was the first location. First, the route from Homonhon, the first landing point at the site of the first Mass taking on west-southwest course. If they had been at Limasawa Island, the distance is only about 1 or 1/2 if that length. Moreover, the islands of Limasawa is blocked from Homonhon by the tip of southern Leyte. Second evidence we have, the location first latitude and others 9 and 2/3 degrees. The latitude position eliminates Limasawa because it is closer by 10 degrees and some, uncertain the claim of Masao, Butuan because it is exactly at 9 degrees. So there are many evidence that we have, but these two evidence is the most important to support my claim. So based on my evidence, I would say that Ms. Amante's earlier statement about the analysis for me, she is incorrect because they had no evidence to support her claim Whereas we have plenty of evidence to show why in Masao Butuan was the first location of the first Christian mass. Thank you.
I disagree with the aims of the opposition in Pigafita's account. He didn't mention that the mass was actually held in Butuan. He just mentioned the two king. The two king means Magellan visited the island. The king of Masawa, that was Raha Shago, was the brother of Raha Kalambo, and Raha Kalambo was the king of Butuan. The fact known that the latter is visitor in Masawa and his territory is an Butuan, which is another island. So it can be said that Masawa is not Butuan. And also in Pigafetta account is the casual aspect of Butuan was not mentioned the river. Butuan is a riverine settlement situated on the Agusan River. The beach of Masao is in the delta of the said river.
You're wrong, and I'm pretty sure that you did not read Pigafetta's account properly. And I guess I need to tell a quick story from Pigafetta's account. When Magellan arrived at island where Rahasiago is the king, he did a lot of things there, like preparing the ship and giving the people of Rahasiago a gift as this gratitude, and then afterwards that Magellan went to the island where Raha Colombo is the king and in the Butuan, and it was on March 31, 1521. Easter Sunday, Magellan planned to hold there the first ever Catholic Mass in Philippines. In the sight of the sea, and there he declared that island that he will be having a said Mass. Raha Kalambo heard the declaration of Magellan and attended the Mass with the offer of 2 dead pigs. And the Rahasiago attend to the two kings attend after the Mass. Magellan planted a cross with a nail and crown as symbolized that win in with no war.
So I have a question. You said earlier that you based on Antonio Pigafetta's account as your primary sources. But can you defend that Antonio Pigafetta's account was a credible sources for Butuan, even knowing that Antonio Pigafetta didn't mention the first mass really held on Butuan?
To answer that question, Antonio Pigafetta is an eyewitness of that happening, and he was a coracle of the Magellan expedition. Identified the place as Masawa, early accounts made the priors relying on available writings and on tradition reported that the first mass being held in Butuan, Agusan del Norte, specifically on islands called Masao.
Our question is, what evidence do you have? Why did you say the first mass took place in Limasawa? According to Antonio Pigafetta's primary source, the mass was held in Masao, Butuan. So who is your primary source for these assertions?
So thank you for that question. So Antonio Pigafetta didn't mention Butuan, didn't mention that the first Catholic Mass was held in Butuan. And our primary sources is Antonio Pigafetta because based on the locations, it really fits our longitudes or the location on her account. His account was literally fit for Limasawa's location. That's all.
Okay, to claim our proposition, the said island of Butuan, we have the secondary sources, which is Sonia Zaide, Dr. Sonia M. Zaide, presented evidences that the site of the first mass was not in Limasawa but in Masao, Butuan, Agusan del Norte. Sonia Zaide in particular, she identified Masao in Butuan as the location of the Christian mass. She based her claim on the diary of Pigafetta, Okay, so number 2, our secondary sources, Dr. Potenciano Malvar. Malvar, a 70-year-old doctor, spent 5 years of research in country and abroad to help resolve as dispute that a 1959 law to panels 19 and 2019, and several appeared had failed of settled.
Okay, so earlier, your rebuttal, Janelle Monares, was stated that we did not properly read the Antonius Pigafetta's account, but we did read and understand Pigafetta's account properly. And Raylene Casañaras, as part of my team, said earlier that Pigafetta didn't mention that Magellan went to Butuan, only the two kings, as a visitor of Masawa. So in conclusion, Magellan didn't go in Butuan. That's why our team firmly believes that the site of first mass in the Philippines took place in Limasawa, because of the statement of Albo and Pigafetta, and also regarding the geographical directions and descriptions of Masawa, which describes the island of Limasawa than Butuan. And to strengthen our claims, Pigafetta and Albo account are considered as the first-hand accounts. Pigafetta's testimony account works the most detailed, surviving, credible, and reliable source of information. So regarding of Magellan's voyage, and also the issue was raised and already resolved by National Historical Commission of the Philippines that Limasawa is the place where the first Catholic Mass took place. That's all today.